regularly with yoga. This one we're focusing on those cues that we talk about every week. Those 4 I like to hammer specifically, which is the neck long, chin in, chest wide. So look at me real quick. When I say chest wide or pull your clavicle apart, this part of your chest, when I say chest wide, this is what you're pulling wide. This. Your clavicle, you're trying, if you watch my shoulders, they're internally rotated. When I say chest wide, the wide comes from here to enhance external rotation. And it's the same idea that we've talked about before in class about squeezing the lemon, but less dramatic. So that's the chest wide part. And you'll hear me say that. Those of you newer to me, over and over and over. Those of you that train with me, you hear it all the time. So in Sphinx position, we're going to set up on our belly, elbows under shoulder. Start there. Your elbow bone, your medial epicondyle, if you want to get all fancy, is very proprioceptively rich, meaning your elbow speaks a lot to what's going on, especially in the upper body. So elbows are under shoulder for a purpose because we're trying, again, to create stability in the shoulder girdle. So I said most of us lack stability there. It's the most mobile and unstable joint in the body, the whole shoulder girdle, the scapular-thoracic joint. So it's very key that we're cognizant and we're aware, mindful, thoughtful about what's going on in that area. Left to our own, those larger muscles will take over, our movement will be compromised, and it will become a shit show, and then we have injury. All right, elbow under shoulder, spread your fingers like starfish. Your forearms are parallel, just like railroad tracks. Now you can see I'm sinking into my shoulder because I haven't set that yet. I'm focusing on the foundation because this is what's going to communicate up to my shoulder. My lower body is nice and relaxed. Now press your pubic bone into the floor. Like drive your pubic bone into the floor without posturally tilting your pelvis and squeezing the crap out of your butt. It's a subtle, again, it's nuanced. Drive your pubic bone into the floor. So we've got elbows driving in, forearms parallel, fingers spread. Now grab the floor with your fingers, focus on that pinky. Drive the pinky into the floor. You should start feeling a little heat activating. Pubis is in the ground, pressing, anchored. Now push into the floor. From the pinky and the elbow, drive into the floor like you're trying to make really strong arm prints, all right? Or like you're pushing, like there was somebody on you and you're driving them off of you. So feel that. And can you do it? Are you clenching up your butt in order to assist this position? So you're driving into the ground. Your pinky is driving and pulling into the ground with your other fingers. Your elbow is really anchored and connected, and your pubic bone. Now, neck is long, chin is in, chest is wide. So just feel that bit and breathe. And you probably can't tell, but even, and I still have some layers for us, but even at this point, I'm shaking. Because we are learning a new language in our system. My nervous system is very stressed because I'm asking it to do. Left to its own, it won't, because it likes to cheat. Your brain is brilliant. It's always, always, always going to take the path of least resistance because it wants to be efficient. So drive elbows. Notice, did you start to sink? I did. Push into the floor, neck long, chin in. Grabbing the floor with fingers, pubic bone into the ground. Chest wide. Now, ribs towards belt line. Holy smokes, breathe. Relaxing lower body, breathe. Neck long. You're going to hold this strong upper body position. Shaken like a leaf, y'all. Push the ground away. Is your neck long? Have you begun to look forward and lose the long neck? Are you sinking into the shoulders? Is your chest still wide? Can you pull your clavicle apart maybe a quarter of an inch? Can you traction the ribs? Can you make the ribs move down towards the belt line just a smidge more? And can you breathe in this? And relax. Come down onto your belly, head resting on the forearms, and let your arms go. Now, we're going to do that again. What you should be, ideally, feeling in your system is a lot of tension, integration, stability from bra strap all the way to neck. Without, I say to the bottom of the neck. The neck shouldn't be tensed. Those of us that have used our neck for many years to help stabilize the core, because the core just didn't have it in it, will begin to tense here. So if you lay the tongue at just the roof of the mouth, that will help a little bit. And go back to breathing so that the lateral ribs move. But you should feel fatigued from that first Sphinx. That is a functional Sphinx to correct and enhance and help shoulder stability. And you're also getting a little core stability in as well. Through that in. Set up again, please. Elbows under shoulder, forearms parallel. Spread your fingers. Pubic bone anchored into the floor. You're not tilting the pelvis again. So oftentimes we think, and we light up our glutes. That has been my way of creating stability for many, many years. So I'm having to relearn. We're anchoring the pelvis by pressing pubic symphysis into the floor without clenching glutes. Does that make sense? Elbows under shoulder. It may be a new nuance for you, but play with it. Spread your fingers, grab the floor. Now, before I set up in stability, I'm feeling my upper traps. They're wanting to assist. I have very greedy traps. Most of us do. I call them greedy bastards. They try to pull in all this work that they don't belong. When I push the ground away, now they're chilling out. So drive elbow, forearms, pinky into the ground. Press into the ground. I'm going to add another layer. Neck long, chin in. Woo, I'm already feeling it, y'all. And I also worked out yesterday with some heavy weight. Grab the floor, pubic anchored, chest wide. Drive into the floor. Pull your chest apart even more. Even more. Now try to pull your elbows towards your hips and ribs towards your belt line at the same time. Breathe. Relax your butt. Drive into the floor. Is your pinky grabbing? Your pinky communicates to the outside of the shoulder in external rotation, which is what I want here. Creating that stability, trying to centrate your humerus in that joint. Drive in, lift higher by pushing down more. Spread your chest, lengthen it, make it wider. Pull your clavicle even more apart, ribs to belt line. Breathe. Neck long, are you losing that connection? For 4, drive. 3, ribs to belt line. 2, keep pressing in. Press and relax. and let it go. Let it go, rest the forehead. And windshield wipe your legs. And just take an assessment. What does your body feel like right now? What are you experiencing? Were there any aha moments in that position that you can take with you and begin to apply to your movement practice, whatever that is, moving forward? Press back into a quadruped position. Knees are under hips, wrists under shoulders. Again, spread your fingers. Spread them like starfish. Always, 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 always. Now, neck is long and chin is in. Do you remember how that felt to pull your clavicle apart? It will feel a little different now that we're on our hands. Pull your clavicle apart, keeping neck long, chin in. Push the ground away. What do you notice? Toes are flexed. Breathe. Extend your left leg. Press from the heel of that foot. Press from the heel of that left foot. Drive right toes in. This will be a tricky one. Neck long, here's where we're going. I'm going to ask you to inhale. And you're going to lift both and hover just an inch. And you're going to stay here and breathe. And then lower in unison, leg and knee. So we're upping that quadruped, that static quadruped we do often a little bit. We're adding a asymmetrical load. What happens to the torso? We just set it up in Sphinx, but now I'm adding a way higher level for you. Can you manage even pelvis, shoulder stability that you just worked on as we up the ante a little bit? So come back into your static quadruped. So we start from foundation, fingers spread. Push the ground away without flexing the spine. All we're doing, stay in this position and then let your pull your shoulder blades together on your back. Keep your neck long without the elbows bending. And now, without your elbows bending, can you try to separate your scapula as much as possible by pressing up towards the ceiling without flexing spine? So we're not flexing, we're gliding the scapula. Come back to neutral. Let the scapula sink the chest to the ground and pull the scapula towards one another without bending your elbows. Pay close attention to that. Always a compensatory pattern when elbows bend. It's an energy leak. Stay here, keep drawing the scapula towards one another. Now with those strong hands, neck stays long, don't let your head sag. We're maintaining it and managing in the cervical spine. Begin to feel your shoulder blades as you push the ground away. Glide down towards your armpits. And keep gliding them towards your armpits. Now, pull your chest apart. Chest is wide. In that position. Toes tucked under. Ribs to belt line. Extend the left leg. Drive your toes. Inhale, lift together. Drive from the left heel. Breathe. Stay here, breathe. Are your elbows bending? Is your knee about an inch? And lower together. Bring the knee in, spread them, come back onto your shins, close your eyes. And just notice. Just notice. Where were parts that you felt stronger? Where were parts that were trying to override, if you will, some of the areas that maybe were really difficult for you? Those pieces that may feel weaker, or maybe you don't even, a lack of sensation, if you will, that's your focus this time. If it's just elbows bending, then that's what you're going to focus on, driving elbows. If when you drive elbows, you lose the stability of your scap, pay attention to that. You're not ready for the load. We want to be able to manage protraction of the shoulder blades when we come out or when we load. So pay attention. Oftentimes, if you can see me, when we go to load, so people will set their scap, and then we go to load and they lose it. Can you see the difference? We want to maintain that scapular stability when we go into load. And think about how that applies in other movements that we play with, all right? So really working in Sphinx will help that in this kind of active Sphinx that we did. And anything on your forearm actually is harder, so we're going to go there. And then just even without loading in this quadruped position, we're going to do one more left leg. Wrist under shoulder, spread your fingers. Neck long, chin in. Grab the floor with your hands, your fingers, so you're not collapsing into your wrist. And then push the ground away. And then let the shoulder blades sink your chest to the floor to feel that difference again. And pull your shoulder blades towards one another. Can you pull them even more without bending elbows? Like you've got a pencil between your shoulder blades. Can you squeeze it and touch it if you literally had something there without bending elbows? Now, can you let the pencil go as you push into the ground, strong arms, and feel your scapula? The pencil has now let go. It's going to begin to row. Keep pushing the ground away, keeping neck long. Feeling that scapula pull down towards armpits. Now pull your chest apart. Ribs to belt line. Take an inhale. Extend left leg and lift both. Now breathe. Drive from the left heel. Take that left leg out to the side without hips moving. Stay here, breathe. Take it to the back. Stay here, breathe. Neck long, drive the ground away, lower, come into shins, embryo, breathe here. Walk your hands forward, walk your chest forward, spread your hands wider than your shoulders, keeping your butt towards the air and press, or towards the sky, and press armpits and chest towards the floor. Nose to the ground, lips to the ground. Reach with your ring finger. Can you feel your armpits open more? And then relax, walk your hands back. Reset into your static quadruped position. Other side. So think about all the setup. When you built Legos with your children, when you built them as a child, when you watch construction, it all starts with the first few pieces and how the end art, if you will, ends. Yes? These are the first few pieces so that we can indwell in our art and build resilience and move better. Push the ground away. Grab the floor with your fingers, neck long, chin in. Knees under hips, toes curled under. Ribs to belt line. Can you pull your chest apart even more? Extend your right leg. Press from that heel. So the heel's driving away from your head. That's your focus. Really feel that. Inhale and lift together. Breathe. Drive from the heel, right heel, breathe, neck long. Pull your chest apart, hold. Keep flexing at the ankle, press from the heel. Strong elbows lower together. Come back to quadruped. Have a seat onto your shins and you notice. Just notice that. Different side, different sensation. As you're sitting on your shins, take the back of your hands next to your knees So it's this way with fingers down, back of the hand palms up, and now press into the ground. So we want to decompress our wrists and opening the front of the forearms. Breathe here. Can you drive the back of your hands into the floor a little bit more? Now try to open the thumb or pull the thumb away from the forefinger a little bit. Does one side feel a little more janky than the other? That's your data. Like, maybe this is something you could do throughout your day. Especially those of us working from home, on the computer more, holding things into our right hand or left hand, whichever one is harder to pull the thumb apart. I would suggest this is something that's easy to access several times a day. And release, check it out. Bring your hands, palms down, press in like so, and then release. Set up quadruped. Knees under hips. Create those cues, neck long, chin in, pull your chest apart, and push that ground away. Breathe. Extend the right leg. Toes drive in, but the focus is pressing from the heel of your foot. We want pelvis even. We don't want hip lifting. We don't want hip dropping. When we go to load, can it stay just like this? And when we lift, nothing changes except we're coming off the ground. Breathe here as you set. Think about how you can create greater stability. Pull your chest apart, ribs to belt line. Inhale, lift, and now breathe. Hold it here, breathe. Push the ground away, pull your chest apart, neck long, drive from that heel even more. Hold 4, hold 3, hold 2, and come down. Bring it in, back onto the shins, close your eyes for a moment and just assess. And now we'll abduct that leg. Set up quadruped, knees under. Set your building foundation, spread your fingers. Pull your chest apart. Push the ground away. Ribs to belt line. Inhale. Extend the right leg. Lift. Drive from the heel. Breathe. Your knee, left knee, is it lifting? Now bring that right foot out to the side. Toes facing forward. Are the hips still stable? Breathe. Left elbow, is it bending? Take the foot behind you. Breathe here. Push the ground away. Push the ground away. 3, 2, drive from the heel and lower. Embryo pose. Let the head go. Breathe. Notice. Just pay attention. Come back to your quadruped position. Going back to your left side. Toes tucked under, push the ground away. Now, from this position, extend that left leg, going back to abduction, maintaining that plank. Inhale, lift left and right knee. Stay here, breathe. Bring that left knee to left elbow. Don't let the right knee move. Extend back. Bring left to left elbow. Where's your right knee doing? Extend back. What about your elbows? One more time. Stay here. Press that left knee into left elbow. Keep that right knee hovering. Push the ground away. Drive that left knee into left elbow even more. Push the ground away. Hold 4. Hold 3. Hold 2, extend it back, we haven't dropped, and lower. Sit onto your shins. That was a little ante that was up, was it not? Breathe here. Take the back of your hands and press into the floor. Reset. Other side. Set your quadruped. You know the cues. Neck launching in, chest wide. Grab the floor with your fingers to get out of that wrist. Extend your right leg. Drive from the heel. Inhale, hover. Lift here. Now, right knee to right elbow. Drive it in. Extend back. Bring it in. Nothing moves except that leg. Are your elbows bending? Press it back. Now bring it in and hold. Drive that right knee into right elbow. Left knee's hovering. Breathe. Push into it even more. I know you can drive more. Drive, press back, and lower. Embryo, and breathe. Close your eyes. That's some challenging work. I'm very aware. Very challenging. Use your hands now to come over into a low squat. And just move around in this low squat. Heels are flat, so that's the ideal end position of a low squat. If you cannot keep your heels flat, go as low as you can for flat heels. Now we're just kind of, I'm not being picky yet. You're just in your low squat. Hang out here for a minute. Now, remember that Sphinx. I want you to put your elbows in front of shoulders. Can you create that position now in your low squat? What do you notice? Press elbows, hands into the ground. Pull your chest apart. Breathe. And rise to stand. Relax, bring your feet together at the back of the mat. Tadasana. Breathe here. Now, when you breathe, are you breathing up into your auxiliary muscles, chest, shoulders, neck? Are you breathing in the torso? Ideally, lateral ribs are moving. Just notice. Lips are sealed. Breathe here. Hands down to your side. Driving into the left leg, rise the right leg, flexing at the ankle. Breathe here. Hands down to the side. Now, grab it and pull it into chest as high as you can go. Pull it, even more. Gently release, see if you can manage where it is. And then lower. End range. We're going to do it again, same side. Think about your alignment, ribs to belt line, neck long. Inhale, lift the right leg, flex at the ankle. Stay here, feel it. Now pull the thigh into chest as far as it will go, even more. Ankles flexed. Now gently release it and see if you can stick it. At that point, hold. Pull it into chest and relax. We've talked about this before in class. So if you can, pull your leg all the way in that your knee and thigh is crushing into your boob. That is your end range, but it's passive because you're helping it. So we want to get to where you would be able to manage that when you let go. We want to work in range in that joint around the tissues so that it's healthy tissue. One more time. So again, data, same side. Rise right leg, pull it in. How far can you pull it in? And now let go. Can you pull it in more? Breathe without anything changing. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, and relax. Woo! Woo! And you notice, take your feet hip width apart. Put your hands on your front pocket. Feet are hip width apart and push, maintaining this plank that we've been working so elegantly on the first half of class. Maintain that and push your front pocket back, way behind your heels in this hip hinge. This is a hip hinge. Now, are your feet or your toes lifting? They should still be connected. Big toe, pinky toe, heel in this hip hinge. Is the rib or are your ribs flaring? Draw them to belt line to manage this position. Arms pressed down, palms facing. In this position, can you pull your chest apart? Booty back beyond heels. Breathe here. Now, the tripod of the big toe, pinky toe, heel, push into the ground to extend back into your hips. Do that one more time. Hands on your front pocket. Manage your plank, think about it, and drive your hips, push your hips behind your heels. This is your hip hinge. Toe, pinky toe, heel, the great toe, pinky toe and heel, making tripod. Are they evenly driving into the ground? They should be. Notice, are you feeling low back? Data, something has lost on the anterior side that is causing the low back to carry more load. My center of mass, which is L5, should be over the middle of my feet. That's why we want hips back, so that the load, the hips, they're carrying it and not my lumbar spine. Palms facing, pull your chest apart. Tripod, think about it. Drive into the floor, neck long, and extend. Breathe, shake that out. Bring your feet in a little bit. We'll go to the left side. Nice, strong plank. Rise the left leg, excuse me. Now we're lifting left. Stay here. And now reach and pull that thigh all the way into chest. Release. Can you hold it? And lower. Do you notice the difference in sides? I sure do. In both balance, the standing leg, and mobility of now my left leg. Notice if this time gets a little better because your nervous system is like, okay, let's try again. Create that plank position, ribs over hips, eyes at horizon. Inhale, lift the left leg. Reach down, grab. Pull your thighs towards one another. Lift in as much as you can. Release. Can you hold it? And then let it go. Let all that go. Let the shit. I had better balance yesterday. What is wrong with me? I can't stand her clap. Let all of that go. Those are hurdle obstacles that don't serve us well. We all have them. Your language may be different from mine, but they all start to creep in. They do not serve us. So let all that go. And now think, what's going on? Maybe I'm distracted. Maybe I'm fatigued. Maybe my nervous system is already so freaking stressed that she's just stressing it out even more, which is true. So maybe you are just going to stand here in Tadasana for this next one. Or maybe you're going to try it again and just be a shit show. And that's good too. Nice tall spine. Rise the left leg, flexing at that ankle. Just notice. Now pull it in. Pull it in. And release it. Can you manage it? Can you manage it? Can you manage it? Can you manage it? Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. And release. Oh, and that side was way harder. C'est moi. It's me. Standing at the back of the mat. Inhale, rise the arms, reach. Hinge at the hips as you come forward. We just hinged. It's not a forward fold. It should be functionally a hinge so that you're not effing up your low back. I started to say the whole word because I say it all the time. I didn't even think about it. Stay here. Take your feet hip width apart. Take your hands to your shins. Press the top of your head to the front of the mat. Ribs to belt line. Breathe. Feel that plank in this extended position as you rise to a nice flat back. Stay here. And now let it go. Breathe. Paddle out your feet. Breathe. Let it go. Walk out to a plank position. Feet are hip width apart. Elbows in line with wrists. Strong plank. Push your ground away. Lower into a push-up all the way to the ground. Keep your toes tucked under. Lift your hands. Press back up. Plank. Press back. Down dog. Paddle out your feet. Grab your pinky into the ground. Pull your armpits towards your ribs. Now, begin to flex into the lumbar spine, all the way through thoracic, as you move your load back into a plank. How's that plank? Push the ground away. Lower all the way to the ground without anything breaking, nice and solid. Release the hands, keep your toes tucked under. Your nose is to the floor, you're maintaining that plank. Inhale, push the ground away. As you exhale, press back to down dog. Breathe. Pull your armpits towards one another. Pull your armpits towards one another as you slowly pull elbows down to the ground. Tap and extend. Tap and extend. Keep lifting hips to the sky. Tap elbows, extend, tap elbows, extend. One more. Armpits wrapping towards your face. In, hold, and then press up, drop your knees, embryo, and rest. Now come to your forearms, elbows under shoulder, toes curled under, and then lift your hips and walk your feet towards, or your knees towards your triceps as you walk your feet in and knees in. So we're going to play with 3 baby crows. We've already been playing with our core stability and strength. And I posted this on my Instagram the other day, and I kind of made a comment that it's a small movement, but that doesn't mean it's not a strong movement. So sometimes when we feel small, that doesn't mean our strength is gone. Maybe our position or posture may be smaller, but the strength is there. And a baby crow is way harder than a regular crow, or I shouldn't say way harder. You feel a lot more core involvement. So we can play with baby crow. We set up on those forearms, lift, drive knee into tricep, shift your weight forward and lift the heels and hold. Keep pulling your heels towards your butt, hold 4, push into the forearms, and then lower your feet, lower your knees, have a seat on your shin. So maybe that was like, not gonna happen today. So we do variations of that, but we don't not try, right? This is where the parent comes in. What would you tell your child? At least try, because trying is successful. Let's go. So here's an option to get into that position. Set it up on the forearms, lift your hips, walk your knees in and press your knees into the tricep. You really got to look where my shoulders press way over the hand. Maybe you just lift one foot. Feel that, and then you lift the other. Keep driving knees into tricep. Push, round, push, and lower. Find that low squat. Breathe. And just play around in that low squat. Breathe here. How was that? Let's do one more so that you can really try it on and explore. And you're close to the ground, so if you fall, no biggie. But we don't practice a lot of baby crow in class, so I want to bring it here. How can you integrate even more into the torso? Maybe bring your knees up higher towards your shoulders. Shift that weight forward. Push into the ground. Hold 4. Hold 3. Lift the heels. Lower knees. Have a seat on your shin. Breathe here. Close your eyes. Take your hands forward. Untuck your toes. Press back down dog. Reach, inhale, right heel to the sky, open, keep the leg extended. Bend that knee, even weight into both arms. Try to touch that left tricep with your foot. Reach for it. Reach for it, even pressure in both hands, and then come back, 3-legged dog. There's that drive from the heel again. Now take the leg out to the side. Can you do it without the hip shifting left? Is your left elbow bending? Push into the ground. Stay here, breathe. 3-legged dog. Step through, crescent lunge, rise all the way up. Bring your hands to your hips. Are they even? Chest tall. Lower into that front leg, and now drive through the left heel, so it's a very extended crescent lunge without getting into low back. Bring your pubis towards your front knee just a smidge to lengthen, not tuck. Lengthen. Pull pubis to ribs so you're not getting into low back. Stay here, breathe. Lower into that front thigh, hip. Rise the arms, palms facing. Reach the fingers to the sky. Slide the scapula off the back. Pull the scapula back down, ribs to belt line, breathe. Begin to hinge into this front hip. Arms stay forward or heart center. Lift up, drive from that left heel. Breathe here, extend the arms. Left heel drives back, and then stand. Breathe. Nice and tall. Breathe here. Inhale, rise the arms. Hinge the hips way back. Press your hands on your shin to get a strong extension. Stay here, breathe. Ribs to belt line. Feel that extension, breathe. Lower, bend the knees a little bit lower, left hand under the face. Take your right hand to right ribs and rotate ribs towards the sky. Keep pulling left armpit in. press your thighs towards one another, like you've got a sponge there that you're wringing out as you try to pull ribs to sky. Keep wringing out that sponge. Hips are behind heels, and release. Notice what your feet were doing. Right hand under face. Pull armpit into rib, left hands to left ribs, and begin to rotate. Pull your ribs towards the sky. Without the left hip moving, pull your left ribs to sky. Wring out that sponge. Wring it out. Keep wringing the sponge as you pull that left part of your ribs up. Squeeze the sponge and relax. Bend the knees, set the hands, jump back or step back to your plank. Lower all the way down. Keep your toes tucked under. Release your hands. Inhale, set your hands, drive up, press back down dog. Left leg from the heel, rise it up. Extend that leg from the heel. Even pressure in both arms, bend the knee. And now try to touch that right shoulder with your right foot, keeping even weight in your hands. Do you find you have more weight in your right side? Drive into the left and try to touch the right shoulder. Keep pressing. And then extend the leg from the heel, three-legged dog. Bring that leg out to the side. Oops, wall's in the way. Without hips moving. Without hips moving. Drive from the heel. Breathe, even pressure in both hands, yes? And then bring it back, three-legged dog. And then step through, crescent lunge, rise up, hands to your hips. So a long crescent lunge. And often when we get in this position in movement classes, we crank into that low back. So lower into the front, hands on your hips, and now pull pubis towards ribs just a little. Right knee will bend just a little to get out of that low back. Stay here, breathe. Lower into that left hip, nice tall spine. Really tall spine, like you've got an iron rod through it. Can you go taller? Taller. And lower into that hip. Ribs to belt line. Remember the neck long, chin in, chest wide? It applies here. Rise the arms. Reach. Let the shoulder blades slide off your back. Pull them back down lower into that left hip. Breathe. Now, bring the hands to the hips. Or we reach forward, or hands to prayer. We load that left hip to rise up to a single leg position. Remember the sponge? Squeeze it. Maybe you extend your arms here. Reach with the heel. Breathe. Ribs to belt line. Breathe. Press into that heel even more. Reach with ring finger. And then come to stand. Close your eyes. Breathe. Close your eyes. Breathe. Inhale, open, reach. Hinge those hips way back, and just hang here for a minute and paddle out your feet. Shake out your head. Again, feet together, now bend the knees. Put the sponge between your thighs, and now squeeze the sponge. Squeeze the sponge. Left hand right under the face. Pull that armpit in to your ribs. Strong arm. Maybe you need the floor up here, and that's okay. So you put a book under it, a wall, a water bottle. If the floor is not accessible, really bend the knees, squeeze the sponge, because that will help to keep the pelvis neutral. Ribs to belt line. Ribs to belt line. Now grab those right ribs, neck long, inhale, squeeze the sponge, and pull your ribs towards the sky. Don't crank the neck. Neck stays neutral. Keep pulling your ribs. Pull the ribs, not elbow. The elbow moves. but I want your emphasis, I want your focus to come from the ribs. Are you squeezing the sponge? Is your left arm driving into the ground? Armpit in? Are you squeezing the sponge? Are you still pulling your ribs? Breathe. Can you go another little 1/4 inch without cranking the neck? And relax. A lot of effort here, a lot of work here. Right hand, squeeze armpit towards ribs. Neck long, left hand on ribs. And even grab that intercostal part. Like grab the ribs to help pull it apart. Squeeze your sponge first. Ribs to belt line, and now pull your ribs towards the sky. Are you shifting into that right hip? You should have even load in both feet. That tripod, big toe, pinky toe, heel. Keep pulling the left ribs up. Neck is neutral. Keep pulling. Armpit wraps in. Breathe here. Do you feel your hips shifting left, right, right, left? Keep pulling your ribs up, maybe another 1/4 inch. Squeeze the sponge and release. Set your hands. Jump back, step back to plank. Hold your plank. Breathe here. Press back, down dog. Come to plank. Press back, down dog. Tap right knee. Come to plank. Press back, down dog. Tap left knee. Come to plank. Press back, tap left ankle. Come to plank. Press back, right ankle. Come to plank. Hold your plank. Eat your tights. Lower all the way down. Release your hands. Breathe. Keeping your neck long, come to fingertips. Press pubic bone into the ground. Neck long, chin in, chest wide. Ribs to belt line. Inhale, rise up. Breathe. So in this position, you're not looking up or you lost your long neck. Keep the neck long. If you have a tendency to extend in the low back, can you take a little gas off of that and try to extend in the part of your back where you don't feel extension? And maybe it's a 1/4 inch. Neck long, chin in. Chest wide, stay here and own it by breathing. Can you extend a little more where you typically don't? Can you lighten your fingers? Breathe. Neck long, chin in. Can you extend a little bit more in the area that doesn't like to bias there? And relax. Take your head to one side, arms down to your side. Breathe. Just move your feet. Come back center. Fingertips again, forehead down. Pubic bone into the ground. Neck long, chin in. Ribs to belt line. Inhale to lift on the inhale, and now exhale, breathe. Press pubis into the ground. Can you extend in more of your thorax? Mid-back, can you extend there? Is your chest still wide? Can you extend it a little bit more? Use your fingers as a kickstand. When you instantly feel it in your low back, I want you to come off the gas, because that is robbing the area above that we need to get equal extension. And I want it to be your thoracic spine. Extend there. If you feel low back, push on the on the brakes. Gas more in the thoracic. Stay here, you're owning it. Breathe. Neck long. Maybe you lift another 1/4 inch. How can you get more gas in that part of your back? And relax. Take your head to the other side. Breathe. Shake it out. And then just roll over onto your back. Legs up the wall. Ha. Breathe. Hands down to your side. Legs up the wall. Neck long, chin in. Stay here. So we know legs up the wall is a very calming pose. And with all the heightened shit going on right now, this is something we cannot do too much of. Stay in legs up the wall. And with your eyes closed, notice how your breathing pattern has shifted or not. What I'd like for you to do with your legs up the wall, can you lengthen your exhale a little more than your inhale? And do that a few times. And where I'd like for you to put your attention is how calming this feels, how nutritious this feels, if you will, especially on the lengthened exhale. And your lips are sealed, so it's all through your nose. And you're really lingering in the exhale. And it's in the exhale that is our calm. And I think it's so amazing, like God made us so perfectly, like we have everything we need here to address anxiety, to address more intensity or less, to address calm, to address all these functions like it's in us. But our society and lifestyle has jacked that shit up. But it's in us. And breath is the most important place to start, and most of us don't know how to do that functionally. And to use that to help us. And if we need it ever, it's now. And I am speaking for myself. It's something I have to really, really, really think about. Those of us that are type A, I'm recovering type A, which I'm not, but I like to say I am because I'm trying, really need this other side of our function. The breath, the exhale, the nitric oxide, which only happens in nasal breathing, has so many wonderful effects, but calm is one of them. So think about that. Also, when you're obstructed over your nose, it is addressing, affecting, changing the patterns that create calm. So now we have anxiety met with anxiety. You need the breath through the nose to elicit the diaphragm, to massage the vagus nerve so that we can chill the F out. Oh man, it's hard right now. I hear it every single day, and myself included. Hug your legs in and just massage around on the floor. I'm always available for questions. Come up to a seated position if you want, or just, hell, stay on the floor. I don't care. But I'm always available for questions, comments, concerns. I'm on Instagram, elizabeth.s.andrews. You can reach out and find me there and ask any questions. Those of you new to class, I hope you found something that will benefit